100%. So it's one of those things where being a Christian, as I've learned, kind of diving back into my faith, one, it's hard. We just read.
Yeah.
I don't have it saved this week. I didn't put it on my phone. I think it was Colossians 2. It's talking about Paul, how he's going and speaking with the Colossians, and he just talked about how he's struggling. It's been so hard for him, and I think that does speak something, because Paul is arguably one of the best disciples, the biggest disciples, most well-known disciple of Jesus.
Yep.
And he's even like, I'm struggling. This is hard. Spreading the word is hard. You spread it, and you can't save anyone. And that's where it gets hard, where I think as Christians, you are called to love, you are called to show compassion, to show mercy, to talk about God, and that's all you're supposed to do. God and Jesus are the ultimate, I'm going to change his heart or not, or her heart or not. I also just try not to, it's hard because I don't want to say I don't care, but you look at that Matthew and you just say, you can't save everyone. But the majority of people are not going to get saved. And it's hard to say that because I have friends who are homosexual and they're great people. I have nothing against them. I love them just as much as I love the next person. There's nothing that I look at them and it's like, oh, you're disgusting, blah, blah, blah. You just don't have that conversation. So I think how he puts it's a little brutal. Yes. But I also feel like in the world we live in now, you kind of have to be a little brutal sometimes. But that's a tough subject.
Yeah, I think he just overall encompasses, just talks about religion in general. I think obviously he is a Catholic, so it leans more towards Catholicism, but just a couple points that
and like Catholicism too, much more old school.
It is very much more traditional.
Yeah, it's a lot different. I'm not saying like Christians are like, oh yeah, just do whatever you want. Like, it's not that, but Catholicism is very like by the book. Yeah, we're gonna read all the hymns. We do. Christians are not quite that intense of being traditional in a lot of the aspects. I mean, like people for Catholicism, they'll wear suits and ties to church. I wear Birks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a little different, but yes, it is very traditional. So tricky.
Yeah. A couple just quick quotes I liked from it. It says to live in this world, but not of it. I kind of talked about that throughout our podcast a little bit with our verses. Then he said, Christ-centered existence is the recipe for success. So I thought that was pretty cool. The reason he's talked about that is he's talking about the college, their enrollment has doubled over the past 20 years. So he's just saying that like rewards do come like when you're faithful. So I mean, not like you said, it's never going to be easy, but God is a rewarding God. So I think that was kind of cool to talk about. And he talked about complete surrender of self. You will find happiness. So that was also another kind of like a key thing to focus on in Christianity, is that it's never about yourself and how you feel about a situation, but it's also trying to like help others in like their walk. Yeah. So it's always difficult. And then just to end, this is kind of just an all-encompassing, it doesn't actually have to be like religion, but it says life is about doing the small things well, which I liked, because we can a lot of times get focused on like in the future and like what's going to happen, but your day-to-day is really where you're going to make an impact. Yeah. So it's hard I feel like that's where a lot of anxiety comes from too, is when you're like thinking of the future and what's going to happen and what'll happen in 10 years, what'll happen next week, when really you just need to focus on what you're doing right now, and those you can help where you are at, which I think everyone is where they're at for a reason. May not feel like it, and you may not like that situation, but like I know personally, I guess both of us, we were in a job in a state far from home, but I guarantee you, I mean, I know I've learned things from that, and like when I was there, like I didn't know why I was there, but I know why I was there now. And like I feel like I'm getting closer to what I want to do. So I would just say, like, even if you're in a situation that's hard, and there's always going to happen, I guarantee you'll learn something out of it. So
totally. And I think my favorite part from the whole speech that I listened to is it's kind of a full quote, but I'm going to read the second half of it, which says, for if heaven is our goal, we should embrace our cross, however large or small it may be, and live our life with joy to be a bold witness to Christ, which I think just shows you the path is hard. You're gonna get tomatoes thrown at you. You're gonna be booed. You're going against an army that is so brainwashed against you that it makes it really, really hard to want to continue down this path someday.
Talking about that, he did say, like in the beginning, he said all of this stems from pervasiveness of disorder.
100%.
Like this world's a fallen world.
Yeah, and that's what you also have to know. And I think for anyone who's especially like a new Christian, you have to just be willing to try with an open heart and an open mind to read it, because I just think with any of it, it's such a touchy subject. A lot of it is hard because you're going against what they have now made the norm of the world.
It's countercultural.
Yeah, so. Like you said, there's a whole month on some of these things now when we celebrate one day for our fallen soldiers. So I think that there's a lot to that. I do think it's really cool. Some of the teammates and stuff. I know Andy Reid came out.
I really liked what they said.
His was funny, Andy Reid, because they had the media. They're like, what do you think about his opinions and everything? And Andy Reid basically goes, well, I don't like your opinions as the media, and I still let you guys in here. So he has his opinions, and that's awesome. And I don't know if Andy Reid is a religious man by any stretch of the imagination. I know his PR team probably says, don't do that. Yeah. But then you have like Travis Kelce, who obviously
I love what Travis Kelce said.
What he said on High whatever it is, New Heights. And he was talking about how, and we know Travis Kelce, they definitely do not see eye to eye. And his whole quote, I can read the whole thing, goes, I've known him for 7+ years, probably 8 years now, and I cherish him as a teammate. I think Mahomes said it best. He's every bit of a great person and a great teammate. He's treated friends and family that I've introduced to him with nothing but respect and kindness, and that's how he treats everyone. When it comes down to his views and what he said at the commencement speech, those are his. I cannot say I agree with the majority of them or just about any of it outside of him loving his family and kids. I don't think I should judge him for his views, especially his religious views of how he goes about his life. I grew up in a beautiful upbringing of different social classes, different religion, different races, and ethnicities. Both my mother and father made home what it was. So they are homemakers and they were providers. I think that's a really good way to put it because, again,
he thinks differently, and that's okay.
And that's totally fine. And that, and I'm not going to, and the thing that I think people, again, get turned off by like Christians is they'll look at it and go, oh, you're wrong. Most people don't do that. Yeah. Most people would say, hey, Travis, have you ever tried? Yeah. I just want you to try. You don't, just read a couple books. Read just whatever you want to read. Just open it up. And it's weird because when you open the Bible and you're like, I'm going to pick this page, you read it, you go, dang it. That's what I needed to hear today. What the? I don't want, Yeah. And that's how I always look at it. So I find it very interesting, but I love what he said because he is backing his teammate. Yeah. He is backing his friend. He is saying he is a great person. He has different views than a lot of the world, but he's a good guy. Mm-hmm. Andy Reid said the same thing. I know Mahomes said the same thing. I know it's because they're teammates, but I think it's also, you just see how you can still be supportive of someone without agreeing with them. Mm-hmm. I think that's
what we've lost as a society.
100%. So and I think it's interesting too, because you look at it too, and you see a lot of people are calling for him to get cut. They want him to get kicked off the team. He's a good kicker, so he's probably
literally the best in the NFL.
He's not going to get kicked off the team.
It's not going to happen.
I don't think that protects him anything. I mean, I think if he went up there and said the N-word, gone. Like you can't do that. But when it has to do with his beliefs, different. But I also think it's interesting that his jersey is the highest sold jersey in like the past month.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Which is kind of interesting because I think you do see
a silent
change.
Majority.
There is a change, and I think they're becoming louder. Mm-hmm. And I think someone like Butker is maybe a little intense. There are pastors out there, Mark Driscoll, who I love down in Arizona, very black and white, very intense, but he'll tell you, like he'll literally tell you, if you're gay and you come to my church, you're welcome with open arms. I love you. Mm-hmm. I want to teach you. I want to show you who Jesus is. Do I agree with everything you're doing? No. But like you said earlier, you're sinning. I'm sinning.
Yep.
Who cares?
That's it.
I'm not the ultimate judge. Yeah. I don't get to look at you and say, you're wrong. You're doing this all wrong. Blah, blah. I look at it and go, I'm sinning just as much as you are, just as bad as you are. Me doing one stupid thing of, saying the F word to my mom and not respecting her, and you sleeping with whoever you're sleeping with, same weight. And God is the ultimate judge to tell you, hey.
And that's hard to grasp, honestly.
No one's perfect. So, no one's perfect. You're never going to be perfect. Don't try not to live perfectly, but you're never going to reach that expectation of Jesus. So it's like, it's just a touchy subject. It's hard, but I think it is cool to see people be outspoken like that. I think it is cool because it does give this, again, not Catholic, but it does give them a stage, and it is giving them more of a idea of that type of aspect towards, giving them a stage and a platform to talk about it. I think it's very interesting.
Yeah. No, I think it's interesting to see, because I know a lot of the times when you see like just on social media, like it's all politics,
100%.
and it's funny when like something religious comes about and how like just people just butt heads immediately.
Yeah, it's totally different.
Like I don't understand when we lost the ability to have a conversation and disagree, like, and be okay with that.
Yeah.
Like,
It's interesting that you
don't
can't just have
understand that as a society.
easy conversation.
Like I have my own personal views. Obviously, I'm telling you them right now.
Sure.
But that's not going to stop me from wanting to learn about what yours are.
Yeah,
like
100%. I still want to have that
I'm
conversation.
curious.
Yeah. Why do you believe the way you believe?
Yeah, it's
this
only
is why
gonna...
I believe the way I believe. Yeah. And like you said, you can't be perfect. Yeah. No one's going to be perfect. No Christian is perfect. No Catholic is perfect. No Buddhist is perfect. No atheist, agnostic. No one's perfect. They all have their issues. We all have, whatever it is. But yeah, I think that losing that track of being able to just have a conversation with people is sad, because, you can't even talk about black and white and not have an issue. So it is kind of interesting to me.
Yeah. But, well, that's kind of what we had for this week. So I hope you guys
big one.
Listening, definitely share in the comments how you guys feel. Totally. I mean, either or, that's totally fine with me.
Yeah, we want, like we said, we want to have a conversation. Again, I mean, I know we're not a big page at all, but if we ever do meet anyone in public, I want to just have the conversation. I'd just love to talk and
disagree with me.
Yeah, give my point, give my points, and see what you guys think, and just kind of go from there.
Yeah. Thanks for watching the Kind of Athletic podcast. Please make sure to like and subscribe on all of our social medias, and we will see you next week.